Joe Arpaio is known as America's toughest sheriff, famous for his Arizona tent city jail and pink underwear for prisoners. Recently, Arpaio has been making headlines with his very vocal support of Arizona's new controversial immigration law.
You don't want us back here tomorrow? Is that what you said? Well, we will be back here tomorrow, full force.
But the 78-year-old lawman/politician is the subject of a serious investigation. A federal grand jury is looking into allegations that Sheriff Arpaio has abused the power of his office.
Critics, including the people you'll meet in this story, say the sheriff has a disturbing track record of turning innocent people's lives upside down by launching bogus criminal investigations against political opponents or anyone else who gets in his way. In 2006, more than 30 Arpaio sheriff deputies, including members of the SWAT team, descended on the home of Sandra Dowling. The superintendent of schools was accused of stealing millions from a school for homeless children.
And the sheriff went on the news and said, we're going to move on this aggressively, and this is going to be speedy. She'll be out of office within 3 to 5 days.
We're looking at all avenues of this investigation.
Well, I was front page news every day it seemed like for about 3 years.
Dowling was indicted on 25 felony counts. She lost her job, her reputation, and ran up more than $100,000 in legal bills.
I said, how can they do this? I didn't do anything. I kept saying, I didn't do anything.
Dowling thinks her political rivals got Arpaio to destroy her reputation. She claims this video of a meeting between a county official and Arpaio's investigators shows that the investigation was purely political.
We want Sandra to come begging on her hands and knees. Please, please, please help me out.
In the end, there was no money missing, and Dowling only pleaded guilty to one misdemeanor. The rest of the case was thrown out.
Even to this day, if I go into a restaurant, I'll still have people that stare at me. I blame Sheriff Arpaio.
Because of an ongoing federal grand jury investigation into these allegations and others, and because of civil litigation, the sheriff has declined our request for an interview. However, one of his longtime assistant chiefs said that he was more than happy to sit down and defend his boss.
Was there probable cause? There was a ton and a half probable cause, really.
Assistant Chief John McIntyre defends the department's investigation of Sandra Dowling.
Was your response to the House a little much?
It was over the top. There's no question about that.
Was it because it was a political case?
I don't think so. I think
why else
part
would
of it,
you?
there were allegations of weapons.
There were no guns found in the house.
And I still don't think everybody knows that I'm innocent.
Sandra Dowling is not alone. All of these people say they're victims of a politically motivated sheriff's investigation. Former police chief Dan Sabin ran against Arpaio in 2004. Newspaper editor Mike Lacey wrote articles critical of the sheriff. County supervisor Don Stapley questioned the sheriff's budget. Phoenix Mayor Phil Gordon spoke out against the sheriff's neighborhood roundups of illegal immigrants. All became targets of criminal investigations.
He created a reign of terror purposely to make sure that anyone that wanted to challenge him, whether it was politically or public relations-wise or his policies, knew that they would pay and pay dearly.
In each case, highly publicized investigations were launched, but not one conviction has been obtained.
He just takes that cookie cutter mold and moves it to the next person, to the next person, and to the next person.
The reality is these were legitimate cases that needed to be brought.
Former Maricopa County Attorney Andrew Thomas is one of Joe Arpaio's staunchest allies. He's currently running for State Attorney General.
They are not the martyrs that they are portraying themselves as.
The electorate is going to have to look at this and say, we don't want to do this anymore, and we will vote one or more people out. Right now, the sheriff's polls still indicate that the public supports him rather overwhelmingly.
In the meantime, Sandra Dowling is preparing a lawsuit against the sheriff. So is Don Stapley, Dan Sabin, Mike Lacey, and others. The cost to the county in legal fees alone could be millions. Ted Rowlands, CNN, Phoenix, Arizona.